sunshine, had my share of rain, but there's nothing in this world compared to the joy I have whenever I'm with you.
Alright, welcome once again. This is Fine Fashion, and I am your humble host, Isaac Oga. Now, in case you are watching for the first time, Fine Fashion actually talks about fashion, yes, but we go beyond that. We look at virtually everything in life as it relates to fashion, as it affects your overall well-being. Now, on Fine Fashion today, we will be looking at a very, very serious issue, and that has to do with drug abuse. Yes, I would like to state categorically here that on Fine Fashion, we don't actually just talk about problems. We don't bombard you with problems, just that then we try to see, how we can provide solutions, practical ones at that. Yes, and so when we talk about drug abuse, we are going to look at causes, meaning, first of all, causes, symptoms, remedy, and all that. Yes, and how fitting it is that I have as a guest on the program, a regular guest now, actually, in the person of Dr. Samuel Ani. Dr. Samuel Ani, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure having you around.
Thank you.
Yes. So, we'll go straight to the point. We don't have much time. Drug abuse. We've had all sorts of, expressions about drug abuse. We hear things like when you take excess of even the most common of drugs like paracetamol, it amounts to drug abuse. We hear that you cannot take this amount, or especially of some the amount you consume, it cannot amount to drug abuse. So let's just understand now, for the purpose of that viewer out there, what exactly is drug abuse?
Well, there are many definitions or meaning of drug abuse.
Okay.
But to make it in such a way that it will be well explained for everybody to understand,
okay,
drug abuse can simply be defined as a habitual use of illicit drugs. Okay. And these drugs we talk about include cocaine, heroin, marijuana, tobacco, and also when you talk about the ones that are very common in the environment, you talk about the NSAIDs, or commonly known as painkillers.
Painkillers.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So these drugs people tend to use without being prescribed by a doctor, or use it because of the fact that they have developed an addict to it. So because of that, these people tend to use these drugs probably for one reason or the other. Okay. So they try to use it on as a need, as the body needs it at that particular time. So because of that, people tend to take either those drugs in excess too.
Okay.
And when we talk about, like I made mention of painkillers, when we talk about tramadol, which is very, very common in the environment, people tend to take that in order to have a form of relief of pain, at the same time try to abuse it. So they try to do that. And also when you talk about NSAIDs too, and sedatives,
okay,
these drugs, yes, these drugs people try to take in order, probably they feel like, I have to have some rest, I want to sleep.
So by sedatives, you are talking about drugs that makes you feel like sleeping.
Yes,
resting. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Exactly. Thank you. So people try to take such drugs in order to maybe to have a relief.
Okay. All right. So let me see if I deduce correctly. The emphasis on overindulgence in the consumption of such drugs.
Exactly.
Okay. So the drug itself may not be bad, necessarily be bad, but how much quantity you're taking.
Yes, and also how frequent someone takes such drugs.
Okay.
And at the same time, you find out that the people that take these drugs are not actually being prescribed by a medical doctor.
Okay.
Do you understand? Some of them take these drugs over the counter,
okay,
and which is one of the challenges we are having in this country, whereby people can walk, someone can walk into a pharmacy store or a medical shop just to get those drugs.
No.
Although government tried to put some restriction to that, yes, but we find out that these drugs get to the hands of individuals within the society.
That's a fact. Now, in case you're just joining us, we're looking at drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Yes, you recall that on the 26th of last month, world over, all over the world, of course, that particular day was observed as a day set aside for the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. So let me just give you a quick history of what this, of this drug abuse day marked as 26 and all that. You see, on the 26th of June, 1987, yes, 26th of June, 1987, two important texts were actually adopted at the conference, international conference of against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Now, this was held in Vienna in 1987, and it held during 17th through 26th of that same year, that's 1987. Now, at the conference, it was recommended that an annual day be set aside to help persons appreciate the importance of the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Now, at first, during the early meetings, they suggested 17th and 26th as the day for such remembrance, so to speak, to be observed as the day for fighting against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. But in later meetings, it was agreed upon that 26th will now be recognized, from then be recognized as the day set aside to remember or to observe as a fight, for fighting against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Now, it's a serious problem. A lot of us can actually identify with this because we are either directly or indirectly involved, you understand. So now, like I said, we don't just talk about these things this way. We'll be able to see what it means to abuse drugs, even though briefly, but we'll be able to understand this now. So let's look at the causes, because nobody just wakes up and discovers that he's abusing drugs. There must be some kind of stage or stages that gradually takes one to that point. So what would you say are the causes?
Yes.
What predisposes one to such thing?
There are so many causes of drug abuse. Okay. So many. When you talk about peer pressure.
Okay, peer pressure?
Yes, probably within the community or at school. Okay. Even peer pressure at work too.
At work?
Yes, can also predispose someone to getting involved in drug abuse.
Right.
And also, we talk about poor parental training.
As a serious one?
Yes, so most children are not well trained by the parents, but because of that, they get involved in drug abuse. Probably they actually may be introduced to drug abuse by the parents.
By the parents?
Yes, so because of that, you find out that children at an early age have already started getting involved into drug abuse. Also, we talk about physical abuse and also sexual abuse. Okay. This has also led a lot of people to getting involved in drug. And by abusing drugs, most of them will end up getting addicted to it. Mm-hmm. Also, we talk about stress. Probably stress can make someone to get involved into drugs. Like we said earlier, whereby someone feel like, I won't sleep. Always stress up at work. So I need
for some kind of sedative.
Thank you, to sleep off. So by the time someone starts taking such drugs, the person will first of all start abusing it. From there, the person becomes addicted to it. So, and when someone becomes addicted to such a drug, it's become a chronic something that's very, very difficult for the person to stop. Also, we talk about people getting exposed to drugs at early age. Okay. This is, we normally see these ones in areas of suburban areas. Okay. Yes, whereby we have some individuals that are already into drugs. And we have children around living within those suburban areas. Okay. They are already exposed to such people taking drugs, and by the time you notice that, they will start to get involved in taking such drugs so that they're able to get along of what is happening within the community. Okay. So because of that, these are most of the causes that can make people to get involved in drug abuse.
All right.
And like, because of that, you notice that according to WHO study report, last 2018.
Okay, just last year.
Just last year, yes. It was discovered that over 7 million people all over the world are already involved in drug abuse, and out of these 7 million people, we have a ratio of 1:4 deaths as a result of drug abuse. What it simply means is that of every four persons that get involved in drug abuse, one person dies.
One person dies.
So, which is very, very alarming.
It is. All right, so much about the causes. Yes, we appreciate that. Well, we'll be calling for a break now. When we return, Fine Fashion continues.
I get sick when I'm far away from you for so long. I lose sleep when I can't get you on the phone. And it's killing me, baby. Oh, I'm missing you, baby. Please don't stay away. I need you every day. What we share, it is so rare it can be bought. Come home, please, baby. Let's kiss and talk all night. 'Cause I'm missing you, baby. And it's killing me, baby. Please don't stay away. I need you every day. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. My heart beats every time we fight and you wear a frown. And I smile every single time you come around. Can't do without you. I built my whole world around you. Please don't go away. I need you every day. Oh, your words, they have a way to steal my heart. And your smile is the medicine that cures my doubts. Oh, my beautiful baby, wrap your loving around me. Please don't stay away. I need you every day. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. Give me everything I need. Sweetie, oh baby, medicine for me. Give me everything I need. Yeah. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine, medicine, medicine to me. Give me everything I need. Baby, I can't do without you. You give me everything I want, everything I need.
Baby, oh baby,
Yeah.
you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need.
Everything I need.
Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine.
You're like medicine, medicine, medicine to me. Everything I need. Baby, baby, medicine to me. Give me everything I need, everything I need.
All right, welcome back. The program is still Fine Fashion, and we are looking at drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Every 26th June of every year has been set aside right from 1987, like you've been told before that break, as a day to be observed as a day for the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. And with me discussing this on the program is Dr. Samuel Ani from Voice of Islam Hospital here in Lafia. We've been able to see the definition of what it means to abuse drugs, overindulgence, over-regularity, how do I put it now, in taking such substances, even though these substances may not in themselves be bad substances. And we've been able to look at the causes. I'm actually impressed with your, coming up with several causes of these things. Many of us will just ignore, all these things, from the parental angle, the peer pressure, and the likes. Yes, so all these are things that predisposes one to beginning to drug abuse. Now, let's I understand that most times these persons who are guilty of this deny quickly. They don't like to admit, that they are into such things, especially when it's, at the early stages and all that. Are there telltale signs? I'm talking about signs and symptoms now that could help a parent, a guardian, to understand that something is wrong with my ward, with my child. Are there telltale signs?
Yes, there are some signs and symptoms that are related to drug abuse, which everyone need to know about, especially parents supposed to know these signs and symptoms so that they can easily detect if any of their child is already involved in drug abuse. And when we talk about some of these signs and symptoms, we talk about snuffing of the nose. Yes. So is a sort of people who are most likely involved in drug abuse, that when it comes to inhalation. Yes. And also, apart from that, even people that also do injectables form of a drug abuse. Yes. So
by that you mean easily inject themselves or something?
Yes, of course. Yes. So they tends to have this addiction in them, that they are always eager, having the feeling or the urge
to pierce themselves.
No, to inhale the drug. Yes, especially those who are also involved in inhalation of cocaine, marijuana, and the rest. Yes, there are also other signs and symptoms when you talk about impaired coordination. Someone does not do things in an orderly manner. Yes, and also we will talk about abnormal gaits, sort of abnormal steps or movement of some individual. We also talk about tremor. When we talk about involuntary movement of the limbs. Yes. So involuntary, especially digits of the hands. So when involuntary movement, because the muscles are just muscles of the digits are moving on their own. Yes, so
reaction to what has been taken already.
Thank you, exactly. So because of that, people tends to have involuntary tremor, and also slurring of speech. Normally someone that is talking supposed to talk in an organized way. But when such an individual is talking, the person is slurring when speaking. The person is not speaking in a normal way. Yes. And also there are other ones where we talk about something we called bloodshot eyes. Yes, it's either the pupils of the eyes, they are either too large or too small than normal. Yes, so these are also one of another thing is what we call the deterioration of physical appearance. Yes, the someone's physical appearance is not the way it used to be, and also sudden weight loss. These are some of the signs and symptoms. The one that is also very common when people see, people may start thinking, okay, this person is a madman, is when we talk about poor grooming. Yes, that is the person does not groom properly. Yes, exactly. So you find out that the individual probably did not dress well, probably wearing a tattered clothes. You understand? The person did not even arrange his or her hair and other things. So poor grooming is also another sign. Yes, that yes, exactly. Most likely, this an individual is abusing drugs.
That's quite a lot.
Although there are a lot of them, but these are the commonest ones that we can easily detect.
And I think that will go a long way in helping our viewer right now appreciate what we're talking about. So if you see some of these things, you want to take the necessary actions. We don't want to just react. We want to be proactive. Yes, that saves lives. So this is still Fine Fashion, and we're looking at drug abuse and illicit trafficking, with special emphasis, of course, on the abuse thing for now. On subsequent editions, we will be looking at the trafficking thing, the illegal trafficking and all that, how the threat it poses or has posed and all that. Yes. So we'll be going for a break now. When we return, we'll actually be looking at the side effects, because I understand that for some persons who think deeply, when they are helped to perceive the dangers associated with an act or indulging in a particular thing, they tend to shrink back, have a rethink, and make the right decision, an informed one. So when we come back from the break, we'll be looking at the side effects of your indulging, my indulging in such an act. All right, you are welcome back. The program is still Fine Fashion, and we have been discussing with Dr. Samuel Ani, of course, from the Voice of Islam Hospital here in Lafayette. Yes, drug abuse. Yes, drug abuse. 26th June every year is marked as a day for observing a fight against this problem, drug abuse. We've been able to enjoy the meaning, the causes. We've seen signs and symptoms. It's very important, Now I want to look at the side effects. Let's help that viewer out there now. I appreciate the dangers associated with indulging in such an act. Of course, you mentioned one or two things, which helps me now, my viewer out there now, to understand why we are discussing drug abuse and illicit trafficking here on Fine Fashion. You talked about poor grooming, personal grooming and all that. You don't do things in an orderly manner. All these are not, that's not Fine Fashion, of course.
Yes.
So let's see side effects now, further side effects now.
Yes, well, when we talk about side effects of drug abuse or drug addiction, there are a lot of side effects.
Okay, can we just
so
pick a few?
we may not actually be able to discuss all the side effects today.
Okay.
Yes, but let's pick just few of them.
Okay.
Of the side effects.
Okay.
One of the side effects is when we talk about mental disorder, because the thing is, these hard drugs per se, when people take them, it gets to the brain.
Okay.
It tends to release some neurotransmitters in the body. The commonest one is what we call the dopamine.
Dopamine.
So, yes.
Okay.
So it is when such dopamine is being released in excess in the body, because what it helps us to actually how to feel our motives and also to be able to make good decisions.
Okay.
But when such neurotransmitters are very high in the body system, especially in the brain, it causes a lot of brain damage. It can also cause what we call some mental disorders.
Okay.
For instance, the person might not be able to remember a lot of things.
Okay.
That the person will lose like what we call a poor memory.
Okay.
Yes, and because the person is not well coordinated, the person will not be able to make wise decisions or good decisions when it comes to decision making. Yes, so because of that, it has a very far side effect when it comes to the brain. Then talking about the body system itself, you also talk about the liver.
The liver?
Yes.
Okay.
The liver is more like a processing machine in the body system.
Okay.
Yes. So when this chemical, because when we talk about these drugs, they are all chemicals.
All chemicals.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you have these chemicals in excess in the body system,
okay,
one of the things it causes that it can cause the liver to fail.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
So because it will get to the point where the liver may not be able to process, or the liver will be overwhelmed when it comes to the capacity at which it works.
Okay.
So most times it leads to liver failure.
Okay.
And when something leads to liver failure, it can also lead to some other forms of liver diseases.
Okay.
Can also lead to cancer of liver at the same time. Then other side effects, you talk about the kidneys.
All right.
Yes, which can also cause chronic kidney disease.
Okay. So you mentioned the liver, and I think time like you observed. So the liver, the kidney now, and okay. So just brief, more like your, end note and stuff like that. So let's just have, what's the remedy? Any remedy before we go?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There is a remedy.
Okay.
Yes, because the remedy, first of all, talk about counseling.
All right.
Counseling. Yes, and also talk about.
I'm afraid we'll have to stop this now. On the next edition, I'm in hopes that you'll be around so that we'll look at the remedies now, because that's what we do on Fine Fashion Solutions. So thank you so much for being there. This is how we wrap it up on the program this edition. Keep it with us next week when we'll be looking further into this remedy, talking about drug abuse and illicit trafficking. Until then, I say be reasonably fashion conscious.
a little sunshine, had my share of rain, but there's nothing in this world compared to the joy I have whenever I'm with you.